that the department is weathering near daily attacks on its independence by President Trump, and that no office of the department is being used to pressure the president's political enemies. In recent months, President Trump has attacked the beleaguered Attorney General and criticized his very weak position on Hillary Clinton crimes, in quotation. The president has talked openly about firing the leadership of the department, including the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, the former acting director of the FBI, and Special Counsel Robert Mueller. He did fire former FBI Director Comey, in his own words, quote, because of that Russia thing with Trump and Russia, in quotation, as well as acting Attorney General Sally Yates and all 46 sitting United States attorneys. Last year, he denigrated a federal judge because of his, quote, Mexican heritage, unquote. And Judge Curiel was born in Indiana, by the way. Last month, in a radio interview, President Trump said he was very unhappy with the Justice Department. Hours later, he proclaimed the military justice system a complete and total disgrace. But the one that sticks with me is the president's July interview with the New York Times. In that interview, he begins by once again attacking the Attorney General's credibility. Sessions never should have recused himself, the president complains. Then the conversation takes a sinister turn. When Nixon came along, out of courtesy, the FBI started reporting to the Department of Justice, but the FBI person really reports directly to the President of the United States. He goes on. I could have ended the Flynn investigation just by saying, they say it can't be obstruction because you can say it's ended, it's over, period. As is often the case, the president requires some correction. The director of the FBI reports directly to the Attorney General, and has since the founding of the Bureau, it can be obstruction of justice if the president orders an investigation closed with a corrupt motive. But what strikes me about these comments is the president's view that the criminal justice system serves him and not the public. President Trump seems to believe that on a whim he can bring pressure to bear on his enemies, dismiss charges against his allies, and insulate himself and his family from any consequence. I cannot overemphasize the danger of this perspective poses to our republic. And I've served on this committee long enough to remember another president who shared this view. I was myself on Richard Nixon's enemies list. And although we worked to hold that administration accountable, our work is not complete. We must all remember our common responsibility to prevent that kind of abuse from happening again. I will look to the Attorney General's partnership in this effort, but I've begun to worry about his resolve. Last night, in a letter sent by the department to Chairman Goodlatte, without so much as a copy to the ranking member, by the way, the Assistant Attorney General seems to leave the door open to appointing a new special counsel to cater to the president's political needs. The fact that this letter was sent to the majority without the customary and appropriate notice to me indicates that the charge given to the department officials to evaluate these issues has political motivations. Now, in his own words, the Attorney General is recused from any questions involving investigations that involve Secretary Clinton. Further, we cannot refer an investigation to a second counsel if we lack the evidence to predicate a criminal investigation in the first place. Virtually every Clinton-related matter that President Trump complains about has been well litigated, carefully examined, and completely debunked. Still, to quote former Attorney General Michael Mukasey, putting political opponents in jail for offenses committed in a political setting is something that we don't do here. The threat alone resembles, in his words, a banana republic. Finally, there is the matter of routine oversight between hearings. In the recent history of this committee, new attorneys generally usually come to see us within 2 or 3 months of taking office. No attorney general in recent memory has taken more than 6 months before making an appearance here. Attorney General Sessions has broken that norm. He has had more than 10 months to settle in, making our communications with the department between hearings that much more important. To date, my colleagues and I have sent more than 40 letters to the Trump administration asking for information necessary to carry out our oversight responsibilities. We have sent more than a dozen of these letters directly to the Attorney General. To date, we have not received a single substantive response. We can disagree on matters of policy, Mr. Attorney General, but you cannot keep us in the dark forever. When we make a reasonable oversight request, we expect you to reply in a prompt and responsive manner. And I hope you can explain why your department has chosen to ignore these letters. More importantly, I hope that you will be more forthcoming with your answers, both in your testimony today and in the weeks to come. And I look forward to your testimony. And Mr. Chairman, I thank you and yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Conyers. Without objection, all other members' opening statements will be made a part of the record. We welcome our distinguished witness, and if you would please rise, I'll begin by swearing you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Let the record show that the witness answered in the affirmative. Mr. Jeff Sessions was sworn in as the 84th Attorney General of the United States on February 9, 2017. From 1996 to his confirmation to lead the Department of Justice, Mr. Sessions served as a United States Senator for Alabama. Previously, Attorney General Sessions served as an Assistant United States Attorney and United States Attorney for the Southern District of Alabama, Alabama Attorney General, and Captain in the United States Army Reserve. Attorney General Sessions is a graduate of Huntingdon College and the University of Alabama Law School. Welcome, Attorney General Sessions. Your entire written statement will be entered into the record, and we ask that you summarize your testimony in 5 minutes. I noted that the ranking member took a few more minutes than that. If you find that necessary, please feel free to do that as well. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's an honor to be before this distinguished committee, having served 20 years on your counterpart in the Senate. the Senate Judiciary Committee. Mr. Chairman, I must note that I note with regret your announcement of retirement, and I know that our relationship has been good in the past, and I hope it will continue to be good as you serve here. You've done a fabulous job in leading this committee. On my first day as Attorney General, I spoke about, quote, the critical role we at the department play in maintaining and strengthening the rule of law, which forms the foundation of our liberty, our safety, and our prosperity. In this rule of law, we are blessed beyond all nations. So I truly believe that. And at this department, we must do all we can to ensure that it is preserved and advanced. Such ideals transcend politics. From that day to today, we at the Department of Justice have worked to be faithful to that mission. Let me share some things we've done initially. The President sent us an order to reduce crime, not to allow crime to continue to increase, and we embrace that mission. The violent crime rate has risen, and the homicide rate has risen by more than 20% in just 2 years, really after 30 years of decline in violent crime. After a careful review, we have established a reinvigorated Project Safe Neighborhood program as the foundational policy for public safety. It has been proven to get results. In its first 7 years of implementation, PSN reduced violent crime by 4.1%, with case studies showing reductions in certain areas where it was intensely applied of up to 42%. So we're also focusing on criminals with guns. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, we've seen a 23% increase in gun prosecutions in the second quarter of this fiscal year, my first year. And I'm honored to lead the superb men and women of the FBI, the Drug Enforcement Administration, ATF, and the United States Marshal Service, who work together every day with our state and local partners in this core crime-fighting mission that is the responsibility of the department. Last year, we saw a staggering 61% increase in the number of law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty because of a felony. And on average, more than 150 officers were assaulted every single day. These numbers are unacceptable. Fortunately, the President understands this. He's directed us at the beginning of my administration to back our men and women in blue. We are making it clear that we stand with our law enforcement partners 100%. They are the solution to crime, not the problem. We've also protected the rule of law in our own department. We prohibited so-called third-party settlements that were being used to bankroll special interest groups. We've settled civil cases regarding the Affordable Care Act's birth control mandate, settled the cases of many groups of